शिवानी गर्मा गर्म
International representation. Taking its vision beyond borders, Scope strengthened global ties, fostering partnerships and collaborative solutions. Scope has reinvigorated representation of Indian PSEs on international like OECD, ILO. As member of Council of Indian Employers, it is building the recognition of PSEs across the globe.
Participants who are outside to please take their seats inside. The eminent dignitaries are here and they will be soon taking their place on the dais. Participants who are outside to please take their seats. कोई बात नहीं।
E.G. Scope, elected to ILO governing body for the term 2024 to 27 as one of the 14 titular employer members from 187 countries. Also part of Committee of Freedom of Association, CFA, commits to Global Coalition for Social Justice, collective efforts to ensure social justice and achievement of sustainable development.
May I request everyone to please keep their phones on silent.
In Working Party on the new social contract for inputs to UN Social Summit. Scope Eminence Awards. Scope institutionalized Scope Eminence Awards after subsuming all its earlier awards into Scope Eminence Awards, felicitated by Shri Jagdeep Dhankhar, Honorable Vice President of India in 2024. Memorandum of Understanding MOUs. Scope entered into MOU partnerships with ministries and prestigious organizations, including GIZ, HSCC, ICMAI, and ICSI, for the benefit of PSEs. Building on this strong foundation, Scope stands at the forefront of transformation, fostering innovation, and shaping a better future for all.
As India took its stride as an independent nation, public sector enterprises, PSEs, committed to play a path-breaking role, overcoming disparities for self-reliance in production and services, fostering a better tomorrow with the country's unexplored resources. Undeterred CPSEs have grown from 5 to 448 CPSEs in nearly 7 decades, adding to the country's wealth. CPSEs continue to display a stellar performance with their presence in all strategic sectors. PSEs have changed the landscape of the country's economy, placing India on the global industrial map. PSEs are a major contributor with 81% of the country's total coal production. While the country is the second largest producer of crude steel, PSEs play a significant role. Today, all inhabited villages are electrified, primarily by PSEs. Strengthening the country's oil and gas sector by contributing 66% of petroleum, 61% in natural gas. PSEs continue equipping the nation with state-of-the-art technology and a series of R&D breakthroughs, creating direct and indirect employment avenues, developing skilled and industry-ready talent. PSEs transforming lives every day. As nation builders, they continue infrastructure, development, balanced regional development, and price stabilization. As beacons of hope during the COVID pandemic, supporting the nation in every crisis, moving the wheels of the economy. As wealth creators of the nation, PSEs continue to be nation builders.
In a landscape where innovation meets ambition and dreams pave the path to progress, a new era emerges, infused with the spirit of creativity, Scope ventured to reimagine shared spaces for public sector enterprises. With no designated space for the fraternity to convene, the concept of Interaction Center took shape. But finding the perfect location for such a unique interaction center was not easy. After much deliberation, the Scope complex at Lodi Road emerged as the canvas for this transformative endeavor, due to its central location and existing in
Good morning, everyone. I hope it's a very warm good morning to all of you, in fact. Unfortunately or fortunately, climate change, as we are hosting a program today, it has been showing its signs across the country for a few days and in Delhi since last night, good or bad for us to judge. So climate change poses one of the most defining challenges of our times, and recognizing this, the nations across the world are coming together to address this challenge through ambitious commitments and coordinated action. In this regard, Government of India and Sweden collaborated in 2019 to launch Lead It, bringing together countries, companies, and industry experts to achieve net zero emissions from heavy industries. The Leadership Group for Industry Transition, known as Lead It, launched at the UN Climate Action Summit, is supported by the World Economic Forum. From India, while there are only 9 company members, and Steel Authority of India, SAIL, is also aligning itself with this initiative, the numbers are due to increase as we continue to reach out to them about Lead It. For this, there is a need to ensure a greater understanding of Lead It, and for this, we are happy to share the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, Scope and GIZ under the International Climate Initiative Interface of the Government of Germany is organizing regional workshops across the country to address the concerns regarding Lead It, with the very first workshop beginning today in the northern region. Given the importance of the subject, we are happy to welcome an eminent panel with us on the dais. We are honored to have amongst us today representatives from the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, whose leadership and vision have been central to advancing India's industrial decarbonization agenda. We are also delighted to welcome dignitaries from Embassy of Sweden, Embassy of Federal Republic of Germany, and decision makers from the public sector and the corporate sector. Before we move forward, I request my colleagues to please welcome the guests with a token of our respect. We welcome Ms. Cecilia Toll, Counselor, Innovation and Science, Office of Science and Innovation, Sweden Embassy in India. Welcome, ma'am, and thank you for your time. We welcome Shri Shantanu Roy, CMD BEML and Chairman Scope Sustainable Development Committee member. Welcome, sir, and thank you for your time. For everyone to know, he is specially flown from his office in Bangalore to be with us today. So I think this, thank you, a very, very big thank you, sir. We also welcome Shri Sebastian Borschemeyer, I'm sorry if I have pronounced your name wrong, First Secretary, Economic and Global Affairs, German Embassy in India. Thank you, Sebastian, for your time. It's an honor to have you with us. We also welcome Ms. Ruchika Dral, Deputy Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, under whose leadership and guidance this workshop is happening. Thank you, ma'am, for your time and guidance. Last but not the least, we welcome our very own Shri Atul Soptiji, Director General Scope, who has been the motivation behind this entire agenda of climate action. Welcome, sir. Before we proceed with the program, I would like to invite Shri Atul Sopti ji, Director General Scope, to please open this forum formally with his opening address. Sir is a visionary leader having a versatile professional experience of over 4 decades. Before leading Scope as Director General, Sir was CMD BHEL, a Maharatna public sector enterprise, and holds the prestigious position of member governing body ILO. So over to you, sir, for your address.
A very good morning to all of you. Madam Ruchika Daral, Deputy Secretary MOEFCC, my friend Shantanu Rai, CMD BEML, and Chairman SD and CC Committee of Scope, all the senior officials from the Sweden Embassy, on the dais, off the dais, officials from the German Embassy, senior officials from MOEFCC, GIZ, Scope, and all the industry colleagues who are here. It's a real pleasure to have the beginning of a series of workshops on lead IT. The first one we are having today, and then we will have in the other regions also. I was talking in the morning, initially when we had thought of this kind of workshop, we thought that we will restrict to 25-30, but we got a very good response, overwhelming response, thanks to all of you. I am thankful to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, who have collaborated for this very important outreach program, which will not only be educative, but it would also provide possible avenues of the partnership and synergy by various strategic partners. If we talk about the Scope, which is an apex body of the public sector enterprises, our journey started in 2019 in the climate action. We are into various fields, but the climate action, in fact, we started in 2019 only. We entered into collaboration with GIZ Germany, a very satisfying, enriching, rewarding collaboration between the two organizations. And today, if I look back, we are not only handling the corporate sector, not only supporting and hand-holding the corporate sectors for various climate initiatives, but we are also creating knowledge base of the best practices of technologies, publishing a lot of material in this regard, especially in the climate space. We are engaging in global bilateral exchange, wherein recently we took a very senior level delegation of senior officials to Germany for the knowledge exchange. We are organizing sectoral workshops on various subjects, including the many basic concepts, awareness program, climate co-benefit methodologies. We are coming out with number of studies and publication in the field, and we are developing the climate strategies also that are now guiding the PSCs in their decarbonization journey. And we are also organizing the programs of this nature. So a lot of work has been done in the last 5 to 6 years period. I am very happy to share, and very satisfying journey, which I was telling, very enriching journey. And we are working very closely with the Ministry of the German government and the embassy. And in fact, I was talking in the morning with the German embassy colleagues and my colleagues from the Ministry of Environment also, that few days back we had the pleasure of hosting Secretary of Ministry of Environment of Germany, along with the senior officials from the German government and embassy, and had discussions on various areas of strengthening collaboration between the German and Indian corporate sectors, GIZ and Scoop. And this was, we discussed on many subjects. Some of the things which we talked was having more and more exchange programs between the various corporate sectors of India and Germany. We talked about the need for having a certification program, a micro-credential program in the climate action, climate change, because at the moment also I find not many such certified programs are available. So we have already started working in that direction, maybe with some international universities. We are talking to few universities also in this regard. Then we also talk about having repository of the various emerging technologies in the field of the climate change. I mean, that should be available at one place. Need not be telling about what exactly the details of the technology, not exactly the sharing the know-how, etc. At least people should know that this kind of technology is available somewhere, not only in the country but across the world. We'll make a beginning in this regard so that people learn and cooperate and collaborate in the field of climate action. There are other ideas also which we have discussed and will be working very closely in that regard. I am thankful to the German government and GIZ for their partnership and support, and I am especially grateful to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, who have been a source of inspiration and support for us for our various initiatives which have been taking since last 5 to 6 years period. And I am glad that today, with their support, we are starting this program of leadership group for industry transition, which is known as the Lead IT. As I mentioned, this is the first of this kind of program in the series. We will be having many programs in the various regions now. During these various sessions, subsequent session, you will discuss that how the various international collaborations are taking this movement forward. And you know that this particular Lead IT was started initially with the collaboration of India and Sweden as the co-founder, and now Germany is also giving the active support for that. And but the question is why this kind of collaborations are needed. That's a very important thing. We know that all of us from the corporate sector, from the industries, are facing the dual responsibility. One is of course we have to balance the growth, the commercial prudence with the with the decarbonization, industrial decarbonization, the climate change action. India, especially, which is now emerging to become the third largest economy in the world. For them, if you see, we are the third largest producer of the electricity in the world. We are the fourth largest. We have the fourth largest coal reserves in the country, in the world. We are the second largest producers of coal. Almost 7 states, their economy and people are dependent on the mining industry, etc. For them, taking this route for the growth along with the energy for the energy transition was a very difficult decision, and I am very happy that our honorable President, honorable Prime Minister, with the support, under the overall aegis of the Ministry of Environment, took this clarion call and took lot of initiatives in this particular regard. And we have decided to become the net zero by 2070. But this national agenda cannot be fulfilled unless there is a support from the corporate sector, and corporate sector has given that kind of support through the innovative measures, taking the lot of targets for them, introducing a number of technologies. If you talk about the public sector, And public sector, you know, they have the revenue, total revenue of the public sector is 430 billion US dollar, which is almost 12% of the country's GDP. And if we do the rough calculations, more than 70% of the countries have the GDP lower than this total 430 billion US dollar. So I'm just telling you, sharing with you the kind of enormity of the and complexity of the operations these public sectors are there. Many of them are in hard to abate sectors also. I always quote when in one of our programs, German Ambassador Philip mentioned that today if you have to do something in the climate action, world cannot do without India, and India cannot do without public sector. So the point is that the reason, but relationship and partnership between the public sector and private sector is also very important. I'm told that private sector people are also attending this, and we'll be taking it forward in the months to come, days to come. Next point I like to mention that lot of initiatives have been taken by the public sector. I think there are certain presentations also there by what kind of action they are taking. I like to share with you one fact that country is trying to become net zero by aiming to become rather by 2070. 25 organizations, public sector organizations, they have committed that they will become net zero. Large organization I'm talking about. They will become net zero by 2047, when India will achieve the 100th year of independence. And 30 PSCs they have committed to become net zero by 2050. Steel and, just to give an example, steel and cement industries, they are working in a big way in this particular area. They are piloting the green hydrogen projects, optimizing the energy efficiency, using the renewable energy. Power sector, you see, next door we have NTPC, which was primarily, in fact, conceptualized for the thermal power projects. Today that name has gone. Now it's no more the National Thermal Power Corporation, that is NTPC, and they have entered in a big way in the in renewable sector, hydro sector, and now in the nuclear sector also. So all power sector utilities are also changing, and majority of them have entered into the renewable sector. That's the reason for the first time our renewable energy, renewable installed capacity has gone more than 50% in the country. We had never thought of it. I'm telling you, 10 years back we had, 10 to 15 years back we had never thought of it that we will achieve this. And this was a target set by our government of India also, and we have already achieved that. But what happens? It associates higher capital cost, technology gaps are there, access to affordable finance is there, and sometimes it's very difficult to make the judicious balance between the commercial aspects and the environmental aspects. So that is the reason this kind of international collaborations are very, very important. And I am very happy that two countries representatives which are present here, Germany and Sweden, they have done a lot in this particular field. And Lead IT provides an opportunity to you for the peer learning. It will provide an opportunity to you for the technology collaborations, policy insights, and which can definitely support the decarbonization efforts of India. One more point I like to mention that here, that this collaborative approach only will help. Knowing from each other, knowing from the various aspects, various steps which have been taken by various governments are important. For example, when we were talking about introducing of the renewable installed capacity in the country, everybody was saying that base load balancing will become an issue. But we see the many countries like Germany, they were having majority of the thermal power projects, and now they switched over to this, and balance is there. I'll not go into those details, but the point is that this kind of international exposure is a must, and I'm thankful again to the Ministry of Environment for understanding the importance of outreach of lead IT, because I have also seen that still most of the industry sector, industry organization, they are not much aware about the lead IT. And this is the, now I think through this initiative, many will come to know, many will implement the basic philosophies and ideas behind it. I'm thankful to GIZ also for associating in this particular program, so always supporting scope, and I'm very happy that Mr. Shantanu Rai, CMD BML, one of the large organization in the country, and we have worked very closely, myself and Shantanu, in many fields, and we have a committee here, we have a group here of very senior officials, which is called Sustainable Development Climate Change Committee of SCOPE. He is now the chairman of that particular committee. Many actions have been taken, and many actions are on the anvil to be taken, and I am sure under his leadership, we will take various initiatives forward, of course with the support of German government, Sweden government, and our Apex Ministry of Environment. So we are just the facilitator, I will say, but the things are moving. Once again, I like to thank all the participants here. I like to thank Ministry of Environment. I like to thank all our colleagues, our guests from both the ministries, GIZ, for coming here, and we are definitely pleased to welcome all of you for this first workshop of its kind, and many more workshops will be held in future. Let's start with the collaborative and learning spirit. Thank you. Jai Bharat.
Thank you so much, sir, for setting the tone of this, not only this workshop, but the workshops to come. Now it would be enriching to hear the perspective from the partner nations that have been instrumental in shaping the global dialogue of industry transition. For this, we are honored by the presence of Ms. Cecilia Toll, Counselor Innovation and Science Office of Science and Innovation, Embassy of Sweden in India, and would like to invite her to share her reflections. Just a little bit about Ms. Toll. She is a seasoned executive and thought leader with over 2 decades of experience spanning the private, non-profit and governmental sectors, and her expertise lies in the domains of circular economy and sustainability, which are critical to promoting the industrial decarbonization. So welcome, ma'am, and let us all extend her a welcome to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And even though my name, I'm not that tall actually, so I hope you can see me behind this desk. Ladies and gentlemen, friends of decarbonization, I would like to call you. Is this an absolute joy to be here in India? I have only been here for 2 months, so you will have to excuse if I make assumptions that I'm not really having come for. This year is particularly special as we celebrate the 20 years of the India-Sweden bilateral agreement on science and technology. It was signed in 2005 between the Indian Ministry of Science and Technology and the Swedish Ministry for Education and Research. It's a milestone that reflects not only longevity, but the depth and evolution of the partnership. And this has also led to the creation of LEADIT, which we are very happy for. It's also a privilege to speak to you today about one of the most processing challenges and opportunities of our time. It's about decarbonization of the industry. As we confront the realities of the climate change, we see them every day, unfortunately, both here in India, but also in Europe and in Sweden. We realize that the resource scarcity and the environmental degradation needs a transformative action in industrial system that have never been more urgent than today. But today I want to focus on a few powerful levers for change. when you heard my CV, you realized that it will also be a bit about circularity, but also coming from Sweden, where we have 70% of forest on our land. It's also about the bio-based and circular economy strategies that will lead to decarbonization of industries. The industry is about a quarter of the exhaust of CO2 and greenhouse gas emissions. From steel and cement to chemicals and textiles, the carbon footprint of production is immense. Traditional linear models, take, make and dispose, are no longer viable in a world of finite resources and the rising environmental costs. So therefore we need to shift towards low carbon pathways that decouple growth from emission, and this is a challenge that's accepted by LEADIT. We are in the leadership group from Industry Transition, launched by Sweden and India as a pioneering coalition of countries and companies committed to aligning heavy industry with the goals of the Paris Agreement. It fosters public and private collaboration, it supports technology innovation, and provides tools like the green steel and cement technology trackers to monitor process. And it's also critical in creating roadmaps for net zero transition in steel and cement. It's also facilitating the partnership between the government but also the industry partnerships between Sweden and India. So this is so important to us. But we should also look behind the steel and cement sector. The exhaust of raw material is about 50% of the CO2 exhaust in total, which means that if we can supply bio-based solution, it will be better for the environment. But it's not only good to be bio-based or net zero, we also have to look at the resource efficiency with the circular economy and closing the loop. And the circular economy is about designing out waste, it's keeping materials in use and regenerating natural systems. So we should start not at the end, where we traditionally started in Sweden. I led a large circular economy program. For the first year, we only used programs about recycling. And then we shifted to realizing, what if we design out the recycling need? So we should design products for reuse, repair and recycling. We should try and use secondary raw material instead of virgin ones. But we should also create reversed logistics systems, where you are extremely much better, I would say, in India than we are in Sweden, with recover, remanufacture and reprocess of materials. And the real power lies in combining bio-based and circular strategy. A bio-based product designed for circularity, such as compostable packaging waste, or even components of the cement industry, can deliver both carbon savings and resource efficiency. But also circular systems can help recover and reuse bio-based materials and other materials, extending their life and reducing waste. And this is also a good business opportunity, because if you can recycle materials instead of buying new ones or having new ones from earth, you can actually earn money on the same product a lot of times when you get into these circular business models. What is needed to make this happen? I mean, we have to accelerate innovation in low carbon materials and circular design. We will have to build cross-sector partnerships to scale solution. We will align incentives and regulation to support sustainable products, and also educate and empower within maybe the triple helix model that has been very fruitful for us. And now I will leave you with a thought. I mean, imagine a building made from bio-based material, designed for disassembly and constructing using low carbon steel and cement sourced through green procurement. This is not a distant vision, hopefully. It's in the direction that's being charted by the initiatives like LEADIT, IDDI and the Mission Possible Partnership. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It is really enriching to know what's happening in Sweden and how Lead It Together can actually, the countries can learn from each other, and this is what this workshop is all about. So thank you once again, ma'am. With German government extending support to India on all fronts and working proactively on the Lead It initiative and many more, it is a must to hear from them about their perspective on the same. And for this, may I invite Ms. Sebastian Borschemeyer, First Secretary Economic and Global Affairs, German Embassy in India, to give a perspective on Germany's role in Lead It. Sir, may we have you here? Mr. Sebastian essays a diplomatic role in various economic and industrial events between Germany and India, and he focuses on promoting German economic interests and partnerships in India, particularly in areas like green growth, manufacturing, and digital innovation. And he has been pivotal in bolstering the relations between the two countries on trade, bilateral investment, and economic development, the three pillars which India also thrives on. So we look forward to hear from you and the German perspective. Over to you.
Thank you so much for this very warm introduction. It is truly wonderful to be here at Scope. Thank you for inviting me to this important Northern Region workshop on Lead It with Indian companies. On behalf of the German Embassy, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to Scope for this leadership, for its leadership and continued commitment to the cause of industrial decarbonization. A cause we are proud to support alongside the International Climate Initiative and through the Indo-German Cooperation Framework. A special thank to Mr. Sopti and Scope for hosting this exchange workshop at Northern Region. I learned that you are going to have similar workshops in other regions of India, also inviting more public sector enterprises. And under your leadership, Scope and its member companies have begun an important journey to decarbonize production and energy use. I would like to acknowledge this commitment, especially as public sector enterprises under Scope represents around 12% of India's GDP. Let me also acknowledge the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, particularly Ms. Rajashree Rai and Ms. Rushika Dral, for championing the Lead It initiative and driving forward the agenda of India's industry decarbonization efforts. I warmly welcome our colleagues from the Swedish Embassy and the Lead It Secretariat. Your presence and continued support for this initiative exemplify the spirit of global collaboration. Germany, too, is a proud member of Lead It, and we believe strongly in its mission to accelerate voluntary climate action from industry towards a net zero future. And of course, a heartfelt welcome to all representatives from public sector enterprises, private sector industries, the International Climate Initiative, GIZ India and KfW. Thank you for the hard work you are doing on the ground to move us forward a more sustainable industrial future. We all know that decarbonizing industry is one of the most urgent and complex challenges of our time. The question is, how do we sustain economic growth and prosperity while meeting the commitments under the Paris Agreement? This challenge is especially pressing for high-emission sectors, which require not only massive investments and policy support, but also disruptive innovation and transformative technologies. Germany has taken this responsibility seriously, and I'm glad we are cooperating with you in this field of climate action. Industrial decarbonization must be a global effort, and partnerships are key. Here in India, We are encouraged to see that public sector enterprises are stepping up. Many of them have announced their net zero commitments and are engaged in various sustainability initiatives. This shows that India and its industrial and industry sector is serious about the much needed low carbon transition. As Mr. Sopti points out, public sector enterprises are strategic to India's development. They are nation builders, creating employment for nearly 1.7 million people, driving regional development and investing in research and development. But of course, their scale also means they contribute significantly to India's carbon footprint, especially in sectors like steel, cement, energy, coal, oil and gas, and minerals. That's why bringing India's public sector enterprises on board is not just important, it's essential. Their participation can help drive a just transition, one that not only reduces emissions, but also creates green jobs, fosters new skills, and spurs innovation. These actions by India's PSEs reflect a fact that companies all over the world are realizing now. What is good for climate is also good for business. Thus, taking action to tackle climate change will positively impact the triple bottom line of businesses in terms of the economic, social, and environmental aspects. As we move forward in this critical journey, it's important that we do not act in silos. We must build coalitions, share ideas and technologies, and create enabling ecosystems that support the transition to low carbon industry. In this regard, the Leadership Group for Industry Transition, LEADIT, is a shining example of such collaboration. Initiated by India and Sweden and supported by countries and companies around the world, it brings together public and private sectors in pursuit of a common goal. I thank India and our EU partner Sweden for creating this platform. Germany is proud to be a member of LEADIT and is contributing actively through our bilateral cooperation. We are also part of the Climate Club, another international effort aimed at accelerating industrial decarbonization. We believe that platforms like LEADIT and the Climate Club can work hand in hand to amplify global efforts and build synergies. The outreach workshops like this, bringing together companies and stakeholders, are essential. They help create awareness, build capacity, and encourage industry to lead from the front. Germany stands ready to work shoulder to shoulder with India on this journey. Climate and environment are pillars of our partnership, and this was scored at the highest level during the 2022 Indo-German intergovernmental consultations, when Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Modi and Chancellor Scholz signed the Green and Sustainable Development Partnership, GSDP, in Berlin. Through this partnership, our two countries aim to accelerate the energy transition, reduce reliance on fossil fuels, and build energy systems that are secure, just, and sustainable. Countries are currently in the process of submitting new nationally determined contribution targets for 2030 to 2035. After the NDC updates from 2030 to 2035, the topic of industry decarbonization will remain high on India's climate agenda. I believe the role of industries particularly public sector enterprises, will be very critical in becoming days in contributing to achieve emission reduction commitments. I am pleased that our bilateral cooperation through the International Climate Initiative Interface project and is already engaging with Indian public sector enterprises through our cooperation with Scope. A recent study tour to Germany provided an excellent opportunity for mutual learning between German industries and Scope member companies. We encourage Indian public sector enterprises to build more collaborative projects, exchanges and partnerships with German companies on various decarbonization pathways. Looking ahead, the German cooperation portfolio in India, including our International Climate Initiative funded projects, are committed to deepen collaboration with partners like Scope and its member PSEs, with the support of the Indian partner ministries to accelerate industry transition efforts. In closing, let me reiterate that Indian public sector enterprises hold immense potential in advancing India's accelerated climate and sustainability actions. With the right support, they will certainly become leaders of the global low carbon transition. Germany is proud to walk this path with India and Indian PSEs under the broader umbrella of the Indo-German Green and Sustainable Development Partnership GSDP. Once again, I thank MOFCC, GIZ, the International Climate Initiative, Scope and the LEAD-IT Group, and of course all public sector enterprises for your dedication and partnership. Let us continue to work together for our industries, our economies, and our shared planet. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sebastian. We are happy that Germany stands behind this agenda very strongly and even more strongly behind Indian corporate sector in India. You have mentioned three very important aspects of innovation, skills and green jobs, which Scope is taking forward along with GIZ and its other national and international partners. We are happy to share, before we move forward, we are happy to share that we have with us Shri Tajinder Gupta ji, Director Power BHEL. We welcome you, sir, with a round of applause and thank you for your time. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. And we also welcome Dr. Alexander Fisher, who is Director ICI Interface Project. We wish you could have been here since the morning with us, Alex. Moving forward, as we continue the dialogue, we are privileged to have the opportunity to hear from the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, which has been India's guiding spirit for climate and sustainability efforts with great vision. For this, may I invite Ms. Ruchika Rao, Deputy Secretary, MOEFCC, to share her remarks with us. Ma'am has an extensive experience of nearly 2 decades in domains including climate change, carbon accounting and energy efficiency. Her areas of expertise includes UNFCCC negotiations, climate adaptation, industry transition and hard-to-abate sectors, to name a few. She has played a pivotal role in India's multilateral corporations, including LEAD-IT, G20, BRICS, SAARC, etc. And she has also been awarded Asia's most influential women leaders in renewable energy. So something to be really proud of. So over to you, ma'am.
Shri Shantanu Roy, Chairman and Managing Director BEML, Shri Atul Sopti, Director General Scope, Ms. Cecilia Toll, Councillor from the Swedish Embassy to India, Mr. Sebastian, the First Secretary from the German Embassy to India, distinguished colleagues and my dear friends, a very good morning to all of you. On behalf of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, I welcome you all to today's workshop on the Leadership Group for Industry Transition, Advancing Low Carbon Pathway for Industry. This workshop series demonstrates our commitment to enabling a low carbon transition in our country, specifically in some of the key economic sectors which are hard to abate. I am thankful to GIZ, IKI, Scope, our colleagues from German Embassy, our colleagues from Swedish Embassy for organizing and supporting this important initiative. This event that we are having today is first in this series of workshops that we will be having across the country to reach out to all the public sector enterprises that are functional and that are leading the growth of the country towards development. I would also want to share that the initiatives undertaken under LEAD-IT program can actually help us explore on how we can work together towards a low carbon future. It was very encouraging from Mr. Sopti to hear about all the initiatives that Scope is taking in the space of climate action, and how as a company coalition or body that is bringing together all the public sector enterprises is kind of leading this important discussion in their own space. The participants today in the rooms represent several key sectors, and I'm sure that each one of us is working in our own way towards creating a more sustainable and green future in our organizations as well as in the country. Achieving net zero in heavy industry is one of the most critical steps towards a low carbon and sustainable future. The heavy industries like steel, cement, petrochemical, fertilizers and manufacturing are the backbone of our modern world. These are the ones without whom we cannot move forward. But at the same time, it is also pertinent to note that these group of industries are also one of the largest carbon emitters across the world, accounting for more than 30% of the global carbon dioxide emissions. And to be able to meet the goals of the Paris agreements and the imperatives that the industries undertake transforming steps towards reducing carbon footprint. India has taken significant steps to create an enabling environment for the industry's low carbon transition. There are several sectors of the industry that have already been covered under the Perform, Achieve and Trade scheme of the Government of India. And many corporates, PSCs, plants have been able to overachieve their energy intensity targets under the PAT scheme. And India has at the same time also set the goal for achieving net zero by 2070. And several sectors have developed aligning roadmaps to get there and enable the country to reach this goal. Additionally, we are also advancing efforts on operationalizing the domestic carbon markets, with industry being the key focus in the compliance-based carbon credit market. The development of this market will incentivize the industries to adopt cleaner technologies and drive cost-effective emission reductions. While each of us has an important role to play in this transition, the challenges are significant and we need to work together to be able to create the impact that is required. Collaboration, knowledge sharing and implementing solutions together are the key to achieve this net zero goal that we have set for ourselves. These are the key tenets on which the LEAD-IT initiative was conceptualized. The Leadership Group for Industry Transition was co-launched by India and Sweden by the Honorable Prime Minister of India and Sweden at the UN Climate Action Summit in New York in 2019. And this initiative was one of the 9 action tracks that were identified by UN Secretary General to boost climate ambition and also take actions to implement the Paris Agreement. It was first such global initiative which focused on enabling net zero emissions from the heavy industry and hard to abate sectors. And LEAD-IT in its current form fosters collaboration between the decision makers in the public as well as private sector to enable the kind of policy environment, the finance flows, and the exchange of best practices that are needed to achieve low carbon transitions. Now, to help create this environment, we are collaborating with our member companies as well as countries who align with the vision of Lead It. As of today, there are 18 countries which are member of this initiative and 27 companies that are member of this multinational initiative. During its first phase, that is from 2019 to 2023, the initiative has been able to raise the profile of industry transition on the international agenda. It has supported national governments and industry to begin transition planning and increase transparency in global industry decarbonization efforts and promoting knowledge sharing. And the green steel tracker and the technology trackers that Cecilia mentioned about is part of this increased transparency mechanism. The second phase of Lead It was launched in COP28 in 2023. We call it Lead It 2.0. The Lead It 2.0 basically focuses on translating the industry transition momentum into action on the ground through technology cooperation and industry transition partnerships. One such demonstrative partnership that was launched under Lead It 2.0 was the India-Sweden Industry Transition Partnership, we call it ITP in short, with an objective to support tangible projects in the steel and cement sector in India. India and Sweden ITP was operationalized through 5 working groups. These working groups focus on steel, cement, innovation, carbon markets and finance. These working groups are co-led by the line ministries on both the sides, and the groups have developed action plans through regular working group meetings and discussions that they intend to achieve and implement during the course of implementation. As an outcome of the India-Sweden Industry Transition Partnership, the call for proposals were launched by Department of Science and Technology in India and Swedish Energy Agency on the Swedish side to be able to provide a platform to the stakeholders on both the sides to collaborate for co-development and implementation of the new and advanced technologies. India is working very closely with all global partners to develop, deploy and scale up clean technologies, and we firmly believe that the collaborative innovation is going to be the key to unlocking breakthroughs in heavy industry transition. We are fully committed to working together with all the stakeholders, including the industry, for advancing the vision of Honorable Prime Minister of India and Sweden, for fostering collaborative efforts that enable global industry transition towards a low carbon future. India, being the co-lead of Lead It, extends an invitation to the Indian industry, including the public and the private sector companies, and strongly consider joining Lead It platform, which will provide several opportunities to learn, share, collaborate and advance towards net zero. I would want to also highlight that I understand that we have 1 or 2 representatives from the public and sector enterprises in the room today. However, we request you to please take this message to your managements and sincerely consider joining Lead It. It is purely a no cost membership, and what we expect from you is just the commitment towards sustainability and low carbon transition, nothing more than that, and we will be happy to collaborate and also provide a platform to the Indian industry to be able to advance and also demonstrate the good work that the industry is doing. So please take this word back with you, and we are available to have dedicated dialogue or interaction with your management to be able to demonstrate how Lead It can actually bring in value for the organization specifically and for the country as the whole. And before concluding, I would once again want to extend my sincere thanks to Scope, GIZ, and all the participants for being part of this important discussions. I hope with the workshop and the discussions today, we will be able to strengthen this India-Sweden-led initiative and lead the global transition in the hard-to-abate sectors. I would want to leave you with the thought what Mr. Sebastian mentioned, that what is good for climate is good for the businesses also. But what we are intending to reach here can only be achieved through collaboration by going forward together. So thank you very much for having me here and for sparing your time for this discussion, and we look forward to more strengthened collaborations going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We are very happy that finally we have a national level, international level collaboration which supports industries in hard-to-abate sectors and in heavy industries, which would be the true spirit to strike a balance between environmental protection and economic development. Before we move forward, we would like to welcome formally Shri Tajinder Gupta ji, Director Power BHEL, with a token of our respect. Thank you, sir, for being here. It is indeed very motivating when leaders like Shantanu sir, Tajinder sir, DG Scope their presence motivates us a lot. We would also like to welcome Dr. Alexander Fisher with a token of our respect. Thank you so much, Dr. Alexander. Now, as we draw towards the close of this insightful inaugural session, we take with us valuable perspectives on collaboration, innovation, and collective commitment. However, it is important to understand the industry perspective also. And for this, to offer reflections and bring together the key takeaways from today's inaugural session and industry's own perspective, I would like to invite Shri Shantanu Roy, Chairman and Managing Director, BEML Limited, and Chairman SD and CC, Scope Development, Sustainable Development and Climate Change Committee, to please deliver his address. Shri Roy has over 30 years of experience in the capital goods sector, including defense, mining, construction, transportation, transmission, renewable energy, and large-scale power projects, and he continues to lead transformative initiatives that strengthens not only India's self-reliance and industrial innovation, but with an environmental edge. So over to you, sir, for your address.
A very good morning. Shri Atul Sopti, Director General Scope, Ms. Ruchika Droll, Deputy Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Ms. Cecilia Toll, Counselor, Innovation and Science, Office of Science and Innovation, Embassy of Sweden to New Delhi, Mr. Sebastian, First Secretary, Economic and Global Affairs of the Federal Republic of Germany, from the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany, Dr. Alexander Fisher, the project lead of IKI India Interface Project GIZ, Mr. Tajinder Gupta, Director Power, BHEL, and all my industry colleagues. As we conclude this session, it is evident that India's decarbonization journey is not merely a national imperative, but a global beacon of sustainable transformation. Our collective efforts are steering the nation towards a low-carbon future, underpinned by innovation, policy leadership, and an unwavering commitment to environmental stewardship. The Government of India has laid a robust foundation through initiatives such as the National Green Hydrogen Mission, aiming to produce 5 million tons of green hydrogen annually by 2030, supported by the addition of 125 gigawatt of renewable energy capacity. The SITE program further accelerates this transition with production-linked incentives, that is a PLI, for electrolyzer manufacturing and green fuel production. the National CCUS test beds hydrogen pilot projects at VOC and Kandla, and the adoption of low carbon materials in infrastructure reflect a systemic shift in industrial operations. I must compliment Scope and GIZ for organizing this much needed interaction on lead IT and most importantly with the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Here I would also like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Cecilia Toll from the Swedish Embassy and Mr. Sebastian from the German Embassy for sharing your thoughts today and making this outreach activity informative and a reflection of the commitment of the global community to collaborate to achieve global decarbonization. Public sectors are not outside the purview of this synergy being created. In fact, DG Scope has already mentioned about the critical role of the public sectors in the overall contribution to the GDP, and so will the public sectors continue to play a critical role for the sustainability and climate change. India's public sector enterprises are emerging as key drivers of this transformation, and across sectors including defense, mining, transport, steel and energy, PSCs are embedding sustainability at the core of their operations through renewable power adoption, electrification of heavy equipment, hydrogen-ready engines, fuel cell technologies, and circular waste management. These enterprises are committed to net zero targets, energy efficient retrofits, and R&D in alternative fuels, demonstrating that India's public sector is not only leading domestically, but also setting an example for the developing world. Globally, India is recognized as a model of inclusive and balanced decarbonization, harmonizing economic growth with environmental stewardship. Its scale, policy clarity, and innovation-driven approach position the country as a credible leader in sustainable industrial development, while its proactive public enterprises strengthen India's standing as a globally respected driver of low-carbon solutions. I understand that over the course of this workshop, some PSCs will also share their path towards reducing carbon footprint climate, which will give all of us an insight into their work towards product, process and technological innovation to further reduce emissions. It is important to understand that no single organization, sector or country can address these global issues in isolation, and hence cooperation among PSCs, domestic industries, international partners, policy makers and industry is essential. I am certain that the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change will also give us a greater insight into this global collaboration and how Indian PSCs and the corporate sector at large can gain from this platform, not only in terms of financial synergy, but also sectoral synergy across the globe by identifying global peers who can work with different public sectors and contribute towards the global agenda of climate change. A very important outcome that I from the defense industry look forward to is development of joint solutions through platforms like Lead IT, which do not compromise our national priorities of energy and defense security and growth, but at the same time does not add to the problem of climate change. I am sure that the workshop today and the regional workshops going forward would explore this aspect while also enlightening our people on how Lead IT can benefit them in driving industrial growth with decarbonization. I once again congratulate Scope, MOE, FCC and GIZ for this insightful collaboration, and as Chairman of the Scope Sustainable Development and Climate Change Committee, I look forward to even greater discussions amongst the board level committee on this so that we can together create a more effective industrial path. Sustainable industrialization is not only about meeting obligations, it is about demonstrating leadership, shaping global perception and creating lasting impact. Indian PSCs and the corporate sector at large have the capacity to set a standard for the global south, showing that rapid industrial growth can coexist with environmental stewardship and social responsibility. As we look ahead, I encourage all participants to carry forward the spirit of this workshop. Let it inspire continued dialogue, coordinated action and meaningful collaboration. It is a unique opportunity where closer communication can be initiated with the ministry, and not only for Lead IT but also all your sustainable efforts. We can ensure that India's PSCs remain resilient, responsible and forward-looking by shaping a low-carbon industrial future. The road to a low-carbon future is not a solitary journey. It is a collective and shared vision. Together, through innovation, collaboration, and responsibility, we can transform decarbonization from a challenge into a defining opportunity, one that drives sustainable growth, industrial resilience, and global leadership for generations to come. I wish all the speakers in the upcoming sessions the very best in contributing valuable insights for a better, cleaner, and more sustainable world where we live in. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you so much, sir. It's very encouraging, and I hope through the Sustainable Development Committee, we are able to take more powerful and more insightful initiatives. Now we come formally to the end of the inaugural session, and we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to the eminent panelists on the dais and off the dais who have spared their time and also insightful contributions, and also will be contributing in the future, in the sessions to come. Your valuable perspectives have deepened our appreciation of the LEAD IT initiative and its role in fostering innovation, collaboration, and policy alignment for achieving a sustainable industrial future. I think this is a message we can carry forward as we move ahead in our workshop and in our other workshops across the country. So thank you everyone for your patience, for listening to us and being with us here. And I would like to now request the dignitaries and the participants to kindly move outside for a group photograph. The scope officials are there to guide you. And we will be here, back here for the sessions at 11:45. Thank you so much.